All right, so we are going to do a rusty spinner, and this is a pattern I use a lot here in Pennsylvania 2 times of the year. First of all, for the March Brown spinner fall, which is kind of primarily what I use it for, but then it also imitates the Slate Drake spinner, so kind of late June into early July. You got good Slate Drakes. This one will work too. We are going to do this with UTC Rusty Brown thread, TMC 5212s in a size 10. It's just like a 3 extra long, 2 extra fine hook. I love this hook for my Drakes and my March Browns. It's just the right body size. A Drake's more like an 8. This is more like a 10. We'll just go from there. So let's start in with the tail. I think one of the things that I do a little differently with this tail than most people is I use the back of a brown bucktail. So not the actual bucktail itself, but this part of the bucktail for my tails. And the reason I do that is a lot of guys use a moose mane and that material is just so stiff. Or if you use, I don't know, elk hair or anything like that, it just is stiff enough. And what I noticed over the years was occasionally a fish will come up and they'll push that fly out of the way. But as you can see, there's almost no resistance on that little bit of bucktail. And that gets you a better hookup. I spent a lot of time on my flies thinking not just about how they look on the water, but how they hook fish and how they fish and how durable they are and whether you get them in. And this is a good hooking fly. So I'm going to leave the space for a thorax. And so you probably, I would say 2/5 of the front of the hook left, or maybe about a hook gap's width up on the front here where I'm going to do my thorax in a minute. And just because that'll annoy you while you watch it, I'll cut it off. And right now I'm just going to dub my thorax, or dub my abdomen behind the thorax. I'm using Superfine, Rusty Brown, standard stuff. Everybody should have in a bag somewhere. Use this for your small rusty spinners, your big rusty spinners. It's a good color and a good, pretty much perfect for this application. It keeps that brown even when it gets wet, which is what we want. And you can see I'm dubbing that out pretty thin because I like 2 layers. I'm going to go back to the tail, get 1 wrap right there, and then I'll come back over it and thicken out that out. And I ran a little bit short, so I'll just throw a little bit more on there. And these are the March Browns are pretty robust nymphs. The Slate Drakes are really robust mayfly, and so you want to have a pretty significant abdomen and thorax, and particularly the thorax. And you're going to see what I do with that up here. And now you see I've got that abdomen done. I've got a nice thorax space left to tie in. And now I'm going to grab a feather here real quick. And I'm using, this is just a Metz grade 3, but whatever you got in the shop. Honestly, this is not a, we're going to put about 5 wraps total on this fly. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It just has to be sized right. You don't want these hackles too long. Again, I come back to hooking ability. It's probably the most important thing. I think you got to fool the fish first, right? But if you fool a fish on a fly that you can't hook them on, it doesn't do you a lot of good. So just going to tie in about the right sized Rusty Brown here. And you can see I'm X-wrapping that and then coming down on it, just standard stuff. Nothing fancy. 1 hackle, going to go 3 wraps behind the wing, and I'm going to do 2 wraps in front, and just want to get that space just right, pretty much the middle of that thorax area that I've left. Now I'm going to Antron yarn. This is just, whatever, Antron. You can use whatever you like for wing posts. I like something that has a little bit of sparkle to it because there's often a lot of naturals out there, and you want your fly to look natural enough, but also to draw a little bit of attention. And I do think this Antron gives that effect of almost some bubbles on it. The theory of that, right? It just sparkles enough. You know, LaFontaine was probably my favorite tire, and pioneered the use of Antron, and I do believe he was right. Certainly caught a lot of fish using it. So, all right, so we've got the wings set. You can take a look from above, hackle out to the side. I'm just gonna throw on now some wax, and I'm gonna dub that front end, that thorax, pretty heavy. I'm not gonna be shy here. These are big mayflies, and you want that body to appear on the surface pretty substantially. And so this will be a little thicker than the rope I used in the back, but not too thick, just normal. And we'll shorten up just a bit. Okay. Now, I want to make sure that hackle stays nice and set. You can see I'm going to wrap that a little thicker than I did the abdomen. Make sure we get a good, nice bulk to it. Probably one more wrap there, and then I'll come up front, pull that Antron back, and give a little bit of a head to it, and perfect. I'm going to split the difference there, and I'll throw in a half hitch because I'm going to use my rotary to spin that hackle on. All right, so now just take that Antron again and pull it forward. Pull it out of the way. I know it sparkles a lot in the camera, so we'll clip in on the hackle pliers, and pleased as punch. Get one wrap all the way around, right? Just so you have a nice even back, and then start to come forward. That's 2, that's 3, and now come under. You can go over, I don't care, it doesn't matter. 1 and 2, and I'm right where my tie-in point is. And I'm liking how that hackle's looking. Might be a little bit long, but as long as it's sparse and the hackle barbels are soft, you'll get a good set out of it. Now, I am blowing this a little bit, so I'm going to back it out just a second and show you the way this should be done. So we'll get that wrap back up, 1 and 2. And now if you hold that firmly, just kind of stroke back a little bit on those, get your thread, catch the hackle, and then kind of pull thread just a little bit forward. You see I don't catch any barbels, and that, as long as it stays where it's supposed to, start to slide forward for me. Gives you a nice clean look at the front. I got a few barbels in there, but we'll cut them all. We're hungry there. All right, so we got that tied down. Pull it back, just 1, 2, just to make sure it's nice and firm. Now I'll cut off the excess here, the stem. You can see I got a nice clean look to that hackle, really good. All right, gonna shorten up just a little so I can spin this head. This is, again, UTC 70, so it's real light. So it takes a little bit to build some bulk. And tie that back, 1, throw a couple half hitches in, 2, 3, and that should be plenty. Ease down on it a bit. While I got my scissors up, I'll just take care of these wings before I glue. Now you can see from your angle, right, just a little too much, and they're also kind of slumped together, but now you see they spread out nice. They really look like this cellophane kind of wings. Now I'm going to take a look at my hackle, and I'm going to go about, 1 3/4 the hackle length. It's kind of the way I look at it. And there's a nice wing, and then make the other one look the same. That's really all that matters with the other one. Once you cut the first one, you've kind of committed, so you're in. And we'll just throw a quick coat of right now I'm using the Loon water soluble, and I like the stuff. It really holds nice for you. And I can see I accidentally pulled my thread there. I think I did 3 half hitches and not just 2. Just clip that off. Once it dries, it'll be good and sturdy. But I want to show you this just as you look at it. You want to look at it from above with a dark background, and you can trim out any little mistakes in the Antron, but you can see that really nice profile of what it will lay on the water. And that hackle will keep it floating in the faster water. And a lot of times you're fishing these at the back of a riffle, you know, at the very bottom of a riffle. These are the one mayfly, I think, that find that fast water to lay their eggs in, and they really, really care about it. So at any rate, that's the March Brown Spinner